him and Jaylen Brown together. I don't see it happening. I just don't. I don't think LeBron goes out of his way to say, I want to go from Los Angeles to Philadelphia. I have a hard time saying that. If anything, he probably goes back to Cleveland. That's what I've been on. It's the only other team other than the Warriors I felt like had a legitimate shot at getting him. I still believe that. Don't take my word for it. Brian Windhorst, who's been covering LeBron James for the last 20 plus years, saying the same thing yesterday.
People in the league are certainly, I think that it's pointing towards Cleveland, but they are operating off vibes. And if you ask me, are the vibes pointing towards Cleveland? Yeah, the vibes are pointing towards Cleveland, but it's just vibes. And I wish I could sit here and tell you, my sources tell me, Chris, that at 6:14 p.m. on Wednesday, here's the thing. In 2010, he announced on live television. In 2014, he announced on the internet. I mean, it was basically through a magazine, but it's essentially in an internet article. Yeah. In 2018, it was a press release. Now he gets to pick the medium. So we'll see.
Le medium, James. Is it going to be via tweet? What do you think he's going to do? Is he going to have another decision 16 years later?
Who knows?
Which, by the way, raised a bunch of money for the Boys and Girls Club. It's good for him. But we got mad at him for it because it was a television product. Was it Jim Gray that sat down with him too? Was it Jim Gray? I think it was. I had no problem with it either. People freaked out about it for some reason. He's such a narcissist. The guy's 25 years old. Can we relax? He's 41, and now he's taking his sweet time again with it, and he's going to figure it out. And yeah, and I do like Windhorst doing the sources vibe. He's doing his fake Schefter there. Like, the vibes pointing towards Cleveland, I guess it makes sense, but they just linked themselves to Donovan Mitchell for all that money? That's really where you want to go? Like, again, I don't think this is all about winning and competing for a championship. It's easier in the East. He'll have a shot to do it because the Cleveland Cavaliers were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. I understand that. You have a better shot competing for a title there than you would in Golden State. I believe that. Just considering you have that gauntlet of teams facing you, Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets, et cetera, the Timberwolves. Like, it's feeling like they're the afterthought now, the Golden State Warriors. And I think Mike Dunleavy probably knows it. And I think this is where he's going to have to pivot somewhere. But I just don't know if there's another move out there. Actually, I do know. There's not another move out there that's going to appease Warriors fans that wanted LeBron James. And they're going to be left disappointed. And no matter what, I think Dunleavy's just going to be looked at from a majority of this fan base, fair or unfair, as a guy that just, can't give the fans what they want at the end of the day. And I think that's unfair because he did give the fans what they wanted last year in Jimmy Butler, right? Didn't fans want a big name at the deadline? They were desperate, and it was a desperate move, and he used that word.
Well, no, it was definitely a desperate move, but I think now that time has sunken in, and even before he got hurt, you watched this team play, and they were top-heavy.
Right.
Were they not?
Yes,
okay.
Incredibly.
So I want to use two examples, okay? Who is the current champion of the NBA?
The New York Knicks.
Okay. Who's their best player?
Jalen Brunson.
How much does Jalen Brunson make?
Not the max.
$37 million.
Yeah.
Okay. This year he made 35. Okay. $35 million. That's half of what Steph Curry makes.
Half.
Now, everyone is going to say, Steph Curry deserves every penny. Well, yeah. But again, it's like when people say they have freedom of speech. That doesn't mean you don't also have consequences with the words that you say.
For
right?
sure, yes.
And so, yes, he has earned every dollar. But with every dollar that goes to you, that's a dollar that can't go to someone else on the roster. I did this with Brock Purdy, did I not?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the second best player on the Knicks?
I would say Karl Anthony Towns.
Okay, he's making $53 million. That's the most on the team by far.
Yeah.
Okay? Probably an overpay. It's his last year,
probably
this upcoming year, and then he's got some options. Who's the third best player?
Ooh, well, in the playoffs, it was OG Anunoby.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Making 37. Half of Jimmy. Now, all these guys are 29, 30, or 31.
Yeah.
Okay?
In their primes.
Then you have Mikal Bridges making half of Jimmy. Yeah. So, Bridges and OG equal Jimmy. It's a five-man sport on the floor.
Yep.
All right? Josh Hart makes 20. Okay? So, just to give you perspective, it's about $170 million.
Yep.
For those, that's starting five, if you will, the five highest paid guys. The Warriors, for four guys, more injured, older, and got crazy medical. Steph, Jimmy, Dre, and Kristaps this year was $165 million. I know. So not only are 4 guys costing what 5 guys cost, the 4 guys you paid are significantly older, come with way more red flags and way more injury risk than the 5 guys that the Knicks are paying. So that's just one team. Let's go to the Thunder. And again, they're at different points in their dynasty, all right? I acknowledge that. We're at a different spot. We're at the end, the tail end. Everything costs more. How much does Shai Gilgeous-Alexander make for the Thunder this last year?
60?
He makes $38 million.
Oh, wow. Hasn't even kicked in yet.
Half,
okay,
essentially, of Jimmy and Steph. Second highest paid player is who?
Jalen Williams.
This year was Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh, Hartenstein.
Making half of Jimmy Butler, half of Steph Curry, making less than Kristaps. The exercise that I'm trying to display to you is that the Warriors went in for the star that everyone wanted.
Did, and then immediately extended him on a max extension.
You ever heard of bang for the buck?
Certainly.
Some max contracts are not the same bang for buck as others. LeBron James in his prime was undervalued as a $60 million, $50 million max player. He was giving you $200 million production.
Patrick Mahomes, right?
Patrick
when
Mahomes.
He was making a half
Can't
a bill.
pay him enough.
Exactly.
Okay? Conversely, Kirk Cousins making max money is not giving you the same max money output as others. He just isn't.
No.
He's a good player. He just isn't. The current model with Steph Curry making $60 million, whether he's earned it or not, just ask yourself, has it been good on the floor, bang for the buck when rounding out the rest of the team?
Rounding out the rest of the team, no. It is hampered
He's worth
them.
every penny.
Yes.
He's worth tenfold.
Yes.
But you also have to look at it from a team building strategy and ask yourself, him and Jimmy making 120 of the cap when in this sport, every dollar makes it so punitive to build the rest of the team around him. Just be realistic. Making the trade for Jimmy, though it made tons of sense, I applauded it. I enjoyed it. Has been an absolute albatross. And it's just impossible to build the team around him while they have all these guys making big bank. Well, it was the same thing when they paid Clay max money and he was hurt. It's the same thing.
And this year, they're probably just going to have to eat it. This is the season they're going to have to really eat it, which sucks. And no one wants to see that because every year that you're not competing or at least trying to be a playoff team with Steph and Curry feels like a wasted year. That's how fans are feeling right now because they want to just see Steph play again. And as Steph words, he said it, meaningful basketball.
Sure, but Joe, like...
And playing's just not meaningful.
But you know what's one thing that Warrior fans never bring up? Is that on the front end of Steph Curry's career, he took a major discount because of the ankles.
Yes.
And he was making $11 million. No one ever talks about, you know what sparked the entire dynasty? Being able to fit Bogut and Andrew Wiggins and all these guys under the salary cap and extend everyone because Steph was on such a great contract.
Correct.
That was the whole runway for adding Durant and everything, is that having Steph on the dirt cheap deal when they did was like, it was the elixir that started the whole dynasty.
Why is LeBron not with the Lakers right now?
Because Luka's getting paid and Austin Reeves is getting paid.
Boom, right there.
I'm sure in an ideal world, they would want LeBron on some, more amicable contract.
Correct.
But it just...
And it's not a coincidence that the day that they moved off from LeBron James, they signed like 6 players to a boatload of money. And they signed Kevon Looney for a couple million, and they're still trying to get Jonathan Kuminga reportedly on a 2-year, $20 million deal. They realize, like the Boston Celtics and Brad Stevens, we'll get to him, you can't build teams anymore with 2 guys making up that much percentage of the salary cap.
Yes.
And it sucks. And I it's a larger conversation, and I hate that that's the reality now.
The CBA sucks.
I hate it.
Well, it does.
I hate it.
But Joe, you know who's going to be facing this upcoming year? Remember that team?
All the other teams are, yes.
Well, remember that team I used earlier, the Thunder?
The Thunder, yes.
Okay. So this year, contract extensions kick in. Who's going to be their highest paid player this year?
Is it going to be Shai or not yet?
Jaylen Williams.
Jaylen Williams, okay.
Making almost $42 million. Chet will be making $42 million. Shai will be making $41 million.
And they just extended Hartenstein too, right? Yeah.
So they've got $120 or so million wrapped up into 3 guys for this year. It will be very interesting to see how they build the team around those guys.
Let's go to the phone lines. Dave is in Fresno, wants to join in the conversation. 888-957-9570 is the number. Is 1 year of LeBron.
Good morning. And real quick, I appreciate that back and forth with the screener. I wasn't expecting that, but that was fun.
No one knows what you're talking about.
The screener, the call screener.
Sam Loveman.
Answered the phone.
Sam Loveman, yeah. Did you guys have a nice conversation?
Yeah. Yeah, we did. We did, and it kind of changed my thought of my call. But I think it's worth it. But I was going to ask you guys, since Dunleavy's taken over, and I don't want to put everything on Dunleavy, but since he's taken over per se, wouldn't you say that this current regime has just been underwhelming as a whole? I mean, I'm not putting it all on Dunleavy, but for how they handled Jordan Poole, Kuminga, the getting Jimmy Butler, I just feel like it's very uninspiring. And going to the future, we're talking about, should we get LeBron, AD? Should we build for the future? Who is guiding that ship? Because right now, like the trend is not looking good. It's not looking promising. Whether we go all in or we build for the future. So I'm not inspired. I'm not feeling comfortable with whatever decision is, because I just feel like the decisions recently have been very questionable. And we can say we love Jimmy. I didn't like it. It was two desperate parties desperate for each other. He wanted to get out. The Warriors were desperate to get something, and he was disgruntled. So he was basically a throwaway. And then on top of that, you extend him. Like, that made me hate the move even more, and now you're stuck with him. So, yeah, right. Like, should you trade for AD and LeBron and all that? I mean, I guess. I mean, do something, because honestly, we're talking about let's build after Steph. What is this franchise without Steph? You would not be playing in San Francisco. You would not be the highest grossing NBA team without Steph Curry.
So you're willing? Okay, Dave. So you're willing to just sacrifice anything for now?
I'm not saying that.
Well, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, I'm saying that we need to squeeze whatever juice we have out of the
There's no one that is going to trade with you unless you overpay. So if you are willing to overpay significantly, then that means you're all in. Okay. So are you willing to do that?
I'm willing to trade some picks if that's what it takes. If there's if Jaylen Brown was available,
they didn't want Jimmy Butler.
Well, they also, I don't even know if they wanted Jaylen Brown, Dave. Quite frankly, and we appreciate the call. It sounds like, just reading the tea leaves,
I'm so tired of the whining.
Don't leave apart the picks, and people are pissed off about that.
But
I don't blame him though.
Just do the sounder.
Yeah. The Giants fans, there's your cue to call.
Don't blame him.
Hold on. Be the fifth caller to the contest line at 415-523-4652, and you'll score a pair of tickets to see the Giants take on the Colorado Rockies at Oracle Park this Saturday, July 11th, courtesy of Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. Good luck. Again, caller number 5 to the contest line, 415-523-4652. Good luck. I'm saying I don't blame Mike Dunleavy for coveting the picks, is what I'm saying, and not wanting to part away with the picks. How excited are we right now as Warrior fans about Yaxel Lendeborg?
We're excited.
No. We had a video post, and I was just saying, like, wow, I saw Yaxel in person, and I get it. He looked great. Had like 400 likes. Like, people are dying for any young, positive player for the Golden State Warriors. How about more of those guys in the coming years? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
That tells me Warriors fans would embrace a youth movement. I keep hearing the fear-mongering from guys like Dave and other fans on the text line, 888-957-9570. We can't go young. It's gonna be a ghost town at Chase Center. They're not gonna be embraced. We need to embrace Steph, not post-Steph. And I'm here to say, well, we're embracing Yaxel. And the guy has only played in the California Classic. And we're already embracing him. Just wait until he plays in regular season games, Joe, and has an impact there. I do think we're ready to move on to the next chapter in Golden State. People keep saying that we're not. I think we are. We're just afraid that it's going to be the post-Jordan Bulls. That's what everyone fears. And you know what the difference is? The difference is Joe Lacob is not Jerry Reinsdorf.
But it's so funny that people it's going to be a ghost town. The Giants are 15
That's what they're saying. I don't believe
Giants
that.
are 15 games under 500.
They had 32,000 attendance last night. 32,000.
Both can't be true in this market.
Against the losing Toronto Blue Jays.
All right. I want to go back to the finances for a second because I think this is important. As we talk about like, why is Jaylen Brown moved and why is this guy moved and why is this and why is that and why are the Warriors stuck where they're at? LeBron James won the title, okay, in 2016, and he was making more than 25% of the salary cap.
10 years ago.
All right. Since then, all right, Kevin Durant in 17 and 18, and you could argue, was it Steph? Was it KD? I'll listen to the argument.
Oh, like best player?
Best player on the team.
Okay.
But Steph was only making 13% of the cap in 2017 when they won it all. Okay? The next year, if you think KD was the best player, I'll listen to it because Steph's number exploded the following year.
Sure.
KD was only making 25%. Kawhi in 2019 was only making 23% of the cap. Anthony Davis in 2020, 25% of the cap. Giannis, 25% of the cap. Jokic and Murray were making 25% of the cap.
Each.
Tatum and Brown, each making 25% of the cap. SGA, 25% of his team's cap. This year, Jalen Brunson, 22% of the cap. The only outlier since 2017 to make more than that was Steph making 41% of the cap in 2022. And I would argue Jordan Poole making 1% of the cap that year kind of washed out how expensive everything else was because they found dirt cheap production, all right? The new CBA is telling you, you could do it. You could build a team with guys making 40% of the cap, but it's going to be really hard for you to win a title. Really hard. This year's Warrior team, Joe, this year's Warrior team.
Yeah.
What do you think the finances look like regarding how much Steph Curry is making on the cap?
Oh, he's making at least a quarter of it, right?
38% of the cap.
38%.
What's Jimmy Butler making this year? 35% of the cap.
Let me do my math. That's 73%. 73% for two players.
And two guys. We just heard Brad Stevens. I don't even know if we've played this sound for the audience, but like the reality of the current modern NBA is that every single GM is saying, man, I'd love to have two stars, but they've got to be at the right price point, and it's got to be at a certain percentage of the cap for me to able to round out the team. We just watched. The best team win it all was the best depth team top to bottom.
Yes.
The Knicks. Who won it last year?
The Thunder.
They were the best depth team top to bottom. Who won it the year before that?
The Celtics.
And they were the best depth team top to bottom. And they had to make financial constraints just the offseason after that.
Yeah.
It's not about having just a star anymore because you kept bringing up Jimmy Butler. Get a star, get a star. You got to have a really well-rounded team.
Well, no, I understood the Jimmy Butler trade at the time.
I did too.
We could all understand
I
that
did too.
After the injury happened, it threw a monkey wrench into everything. It just did. It was a risky trade in that you were trading for not only a disgruntled star, but an aging disgruntled star. And that is part of the risk that Mike Dunleavy, Joe Lacob, the entire team was willing to take because they were so desperate. They knew what they were staring in the face was just mediocrity, mediocrity, mediocrity. Now, I guess on the flip side of that, had they not made that trade, where would this team be at right now? I think is a fascinating kind of hypothetical that we don't really bring up a lot.
I don't know.
No, but their finances would probably be better, right?
Well, Wiggins would still be on the books this year. We would have had to make the decision on Wiggins.
Exactly. But I think teams were willing to take an Andrew Wiggins if you still wanted to move him in the offseason potentially.
Yeah, maybe. And they would have had a pick from a couple years ago.
Before I get to the Brad Stevens sound and his presser a couple days ago with the Boston Celtics on the trade of Jaylen Brown for Paul George and a couple first-round picks, this is Zach Lowe of The Ringer breaking it down and and I know it's so convoluted for the average fan, and trust me, for guys like Shasky and I that are knee-deep in this stuff, it's still confusing as hell.
I think the entire league is finding out right now in real time that they have created a giant mess with the CBA.
I agree. Zach Lowe, The Ringer, on the Supermax forcing teams to trade homegrown players.
In 2018, 8 years ago, I wrote a piece about the Supermax and how it was forcing teams into very painful decisions with homegrown superstars. And the tentpole for it was Jimmy Butler. When he became Supermax eligible and the Bulls, with Jimmy Butler just entering his mid-20s, decided we have to get out of the Jimmy Butler business now. 30th pick, homegrown superstar. And yes, just like Jaylen Brown, there were ancillary issues like was he disagreeing with Fred Hoiberg and poisoning the culture and all that, blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is they didn't want to pay him the money. And I wrote in that article, like, if you draft a player and he becomes a success story to the point that Jaylen Brown did, finals MVP, champion, beloved in the community, all of that, it just feels viscerally wrong to me that his contract is something that you want to get rid of.
I completely agree. It's honestly, it's stupid. Well, it's stupid that I drafted a guy and developed him. Wait, what? There's more? We have an extra pair of tickets to give away? We're going to do that right now. That's your cue. Be caller number 5 to the contest line, 415-523-4652. You'll score a pair of tickets to see the Giants take on the Colorado Rockies, Oracle Park, this Saturday, July 11th. Wow, how nice of Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. Good luck.
So I don't like the trade for the Celtics on like a variety of fronts. I wouldn't have sided with Jason Tatum. That's number one.
Yeah.
I would have built my team around Jaylen Brown. But I understand what they're thinking here. And again, I'm trying to put my head through it. I hate the trade. I'm telling you that right now. But they're going, we'd rather have 2 years of Paul George than the next 3 years of Jaylen Brown, because not only are we going to have Paul George as an expiring contract after this year, who could maybe possibly be moved, we also get 2 first-round picks. So even if we let him walk and expire, we will have these 2 first-round picks in our back pocket to be able to draft the next replacement, replenish. They're taking a money ball approach to the NBA.
Yeah, which is interesting. But again,
I'm not saying it's right, but the CBA is forcing them to do it.
You could understand the line of thinking of Brad Stevens. I understand what he is trying to do, and we're going to hear from him. I just hate that the league has forced these teams and guys like Brad to do this. It sucks.
But now, as everyone else is making these preemptive moves, think of what the Warriors have done. They did the reverse.
Yes.
They did the reverse. They were like, no, we actually want 2 guys on a Supermax.
And this is when they did have these CBA rules still.
Right. They go, no, we want 2 guys on a Supermax. Yes. Which, again, Steph is obviously worth a Supermax. But with that comes the consequences of having a difficulty of rounding it out. Would the Warriors be better off having Jimmy at 60 or 2 or 3 guys spread out amongst that 60?
Right now, it's 2 or 3 guys. Just right now, again, I keep bringing up the Los Angeles Lakers. They are the poster child for this. Hey, we're going to sign Luka Doncic. We're going to sign Austin Reeves. LeBron, we don't have room for you because we need to fill out the rest of our roster if we actually want to compete in the Western Conference.
The guys like the Josh Harts making $20 million a year, think of the durability, the toughness, and the glue a Josh Hart is brought to the Knicks for $20 million. When was the last time the Warriors had $20 million to spend?
Years.